All right, sticking with the coaching ranks, we are going to move on to the coach of the year. And if you can't see the visual on the screen, we got Dan Campbell, Kevin O'Connell, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and Andy Reid. And I'm not going to lie, this year, I really think coaching was a major factor. All of these guys are absolutely deserving. If I'm going to go with my pick, I'm going to go with, wrong one. Sorry about that. I'm going to go actually with Kevin O'Connell. I think Kevin O'Connell had a fantastic year. I think that Kevin O'Connell had Sam Darnold. Granted, you can go with Dan Quinn with a rookie quarterback, but I'm going to go with Kevin O'Connell here. Sam Darnold had a career year and a resurgence, and he's also up for our next award we're going to talk about in a minute for the comeback play of the year. But Sam Darnold had one heck of a year and did amazing stuff for the Minnesota Vikings. A lot of people didn't even have Minnesota Vikings even making the playoffs or even winning a few games with all the injuries and everything that happened in the preseason with the Minnesota Vikings. So if I had to pick, I'm going to go Kevin O'Connell with this one. G-Mike, what you got?
I got Dan Quinn, man. I think what he did in Washington is phenomenal. His first year there, he took a team that drafted second in the NFL draft. And when you think a team is drafting in the second NFL draft, you think that the next year they're going to be trash as well. Well, that was not the case. They went from being the second pick in the NFL draft to going to the NFC Championship game. And it's like, dude, a great turnaround right there. Yeah, the defense wasn't where you would think Dan Quinn's defense would be, but it was a lot to do to personnel and injuries. But the offense, man, like the rookie quarterback, the sensation Jaden Daniels, he really showed that he can be a top QB in this league. And right now, in my opinion, top 10 for sure. He could easily get Offensive Rookie of the Year. He could easily be in the top 10 voting for MVP of the year.
How about Cliff Kingsbury didn't get any love in the assistant coach of the year? And you're completely right. For everything you just said, Cliff Kingsbury had a rookie quarterback, and that rookie quarterback did not play like a rookie quarterback.
The only thing is that their running game wasn't up to par compared to Ben Johnson, compared to Joe Brady. You know what
I can buy that. I'm just saying, though,
you need both. You need the passing and the running because they're not going to give it to you just off the wall. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, man, the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn, man, they really showed something. They really showed that they can be a great team in this league. And, there's a lot of promising stuff looking forward for that rookie sensation quarterback, Jaden Daniels, and that whole offense.
Yeah. BC, who's your pick, buddy?
I mean, all these are great cases you guys are making. And so it's like, man, this just makes my case a little bit harder to make. But of all these guys that are on the list, only one of them is still playing games up to this point. And, I know it's going to be, I know it's one of those things like, oh, well, we know what the coach of the year is for. The guy that takes the team that's not expected to do this or do that, and he makes them great. That's awesome. But let's be honest here. All right. The best guy on this list is Andy Reid. It's been that way for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And
you just said it right there. You just said it right there. The last 3, 4, 5, 6
I know,
years. We're talking
but
about
let me explain.
This season.
I know. What I'm saying is, though, and he's continued to prove why he has been at this season. Patrick Mahomes having a bit of an off year. The offense, not quite what we usually expect from them, but they still found ways to win. They found ways to win with their defense, which is something we've never really been praising Kansas City for. It's always been the Patty Mahomes and Travis Kelce show. And also, too, they have lost their fair share of great starters on that end of the football as well. Really, the biggest consistency on that side of the ball has been Chris Jones. And they almost lost him this year as well. But they have continued to pump out win after win. And like you said, like we alluded to at the beginning, it's been because of the coaching, the play calling, the clock management, everything that they needed to do.
17 straight 1-point games, like
exactly. And stuff like that does, I think. Yeah, and I think stuff like that does come down to coaching, how you play call. And let's be honest, Andy Reid was calling most of the plays on offense. He knows how to relate to his players. He knows how to get the most out of them, and he knows situationally what is the best time to call this play and when. And he's showed that this year. Nobody has been more clutch in terms of coaching, I think, than Andy Reid. And he's got his team now set up for success. Arguably, this is probably the weakest offense in Kansas City that we've seen, and yet they're still able to crank out the wins. So, and he's got them set up now to be the first team in history to three-peat. So, for me, it's one of those things where, for us, we've always known he's been the best coach in the league, but I think this year has really shown, like, why he's done it with the closeness of the games, the fact that they're still the number 1 seed in the AFC, even though they lost all of these players over the years. And he's just been able to get the most out of a struggling offense and a defense that, aside from Chris Jones, didn't really have a lot of name recognition. So I got to tip the hat to Andy Reid. Him in Kansas City, like, he deserves it. And I think it'd be interesting to see, like, him getting Coach of the Year. And if Kansas City pops off in the big game, cap it off with a 3-peat, man.
How about that? We got to give some love. We're giving love to everybody on this list because I think all these guys are deserving. But
Yeah.
Sean Payton, man, Sean Payton did a hell of a job. And the Denver Broncos, nobody really had them even making the playoffs. Nobody had them doing much of anything. They had a rookie quarterback as well with Bo Nix. As much as we're going to give Dan Quinn some love, Sean Payton did a hell of a job as well, man. The Denver Broncos were kind of in disarray, and Sean Payton, did his thing. He finally started to take control, and you can see the difference in the team. And I think Bo Nix is the real deal. I think that's a perfect fit for them too. So we're going to go ahead and just go back over our picks real quick. But all these guys on here, and who doesn't love Dan Campbell? I mean, Dan Campbell.
We're not giving Dan Campbell praise, and he's
all these guys deserve praise.
Yeah.
Right. And I really do think everybody on this list is absolutely deserving. Sometimes you can see a list and you're like, whatever, like we're just on the all-star snubs and all-stars. You can find right. All these guys are legitimately great coaches, and they coach. Dan Campbell is just a different story because he did happen to have Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, who are also assistant coaches up for assistant coach of the year. So I think Dan Campbell kind of gets forgotten about the motivator, the guy that he is. But I don't think he's going to win. Yeah, just watching any kind of interview with that guy afterwards. But all right, so one more time we'll go over this list and make sure you guys are all on the same page with it. So I'm taking Kevin O'Connell of the Minnesota Vikings. G Mike, who you got?
I got Dan Quinn of the Washington Commanders, the Commies.
Mr. BC, what you got?
I got the GOAT, Andy Reid.